Hi there, welcome back. This is the third and final part of the display board. Okay, here we go with the final part. This is mainly using pigments and adding on the debris at the side of the road, newspapers, stuff like that. So hopefully you'll enjoy it, and yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, so moving on to the oil stage now. I'm prepared 4 here, so sap green, black, burnt umber, and Payne's grey I'm going to try. I haven't used Payne's grey before, but it's a nice bluey grey. I've used the ink before, but not the oil. Anyway, I've transferred them into the palette, so we've got black, grey, brown and green. What else do we need? White spirit. And just to cover off the board, I use these envelopes that I get comics delivered in. And they've got like a cardboard or card side to it, and then the envelope outside. So it's good for soaking up the white spirit instead of it soaking into your mat and then stinking out your room for days. So I've got them all around the paved area now. So let's get rid of the oils, and we'll bring in the palette, and we'll get ready to go. So I've got my white spirit ready in here, and I'll add a little bit of the white spirit to the oil paint in each well, just to soften it up a bit. And we're ready to apply to the pavement then. So it's the same process as some of the previous videos. I'll dot some colour at the edge of the board. Green first. Bit of the burnt umber here and there. Payne's grey. And finally the black. Might add a little bit more green, but we'll see how it goes. More black up this way. And brown. And the green. And I'm using quite a large stiff brush, so dip it into the well of the white spirit, and just let it soak up into the brush and start streaking. As long as you keep going up and down the way, you should get a nice variation in colour here and there, so that's what we're after. Obviously, if you want really dark pavements, add more black. More browny ones, more brown. I'm after like a green tinge, so I've got quite a bit of green in mine because I'm slightly obsessed with green, as you probably know by now. and just keep going. Just add more white spirit to it to dilute it down. And concentrate on one particular slab if you want it cleaner or grubbier. Just leave it alone if you want it grubby. I'll use some of this stuff here, look. I'll apply it there. So I'm fairly happy with that, so I'll start on this side now. Apply the paint again, but this time we'll be working our way up the board towards the middle. So there's your green. And black. And paint's great. And the burnt umber. As I've run out of white spirit, so I'll top this up again. And we're ready to go. So I'll dip the brush in and streak. I think this side is going to be a bit darker than the top half. You can see now why I put the cardboard down to soak it all up. Let's move the camera a little bit so you can see this side. It's much better than that stuff ending up on your desk. Oh, there we are. I think we've got a nice green tinge to it, so I'll leave it dry for now. Okay, so the pavements are dried nicely. Next thing to do is the debris by the side of the road. So I've got some PVA that I've put in a pot ready to go. I'm going to just add a little bit of water to it to thin it a little bit. I've got a bag of sawdust. These are actually from my wood chip boiler, and I accidentally soaked them one day and left them out in the rain, and they kind of exploded into this mush. But when it dried out, it made these really nice size bits of sawdust. So I'm thinking maybe if you've got a pet hamster or something, you can have a look for some of that stuff. But if you get absolutely stuck and you can't find anything anyway, give me a shout and I'll send you some, because I've got loads. So yeah, just get in touch in the comments below and we'll sort something out. But that's the plan anyway. So I'll water down the PVA and then I'll start applying it to the side of the road there, and just throw some sawdust on it. Okay, so I've got the water in, so it's just to make it flow a bit more and make it slightly easier to apply. So it's not runny, it's still quite thick. So I'm going to apply that to the side of the road here. Push it up against the curb as well. And you can have patches and leave gaps. because I want to add bits of newspaper and rubbish in between, so that's what that is for. Add a little bit there too, because we've got a gap to fill. Okay. I'll carry on around this way as well. It's up to you how far out into the road you want to go, but I'm not really that fussed, so I'll just leave it at that. So if you get your sawdust, and you can either sprinkle it straight on, what I tend to do is leave it by the side. I'll just do this bit first. Leave it by the side of the road, so not actually in the glue, but a line next to it. And what I'll do, I'll flick it into the glue. Just get a brush. Make sure you don't get your brush in the glue, otherwise it just the sawdust will just stick to your brush. Right, and we'll leave that to dry. Okay, so I'm ready to add the rubbish to the side of the roads now. I've collected various bits from online, like newspapers, the crime scene tape, posters, other posters that I found and I've shrink down. You know, the trick is to shrink it down to a scale that you think might fit. If you get stuck and you can't find anything, let me know, and I can send you stuff by email or Dropbox or stuff like that, so we can get hold of them that way. So I'm going to start cutting out, and once they're all cut out, then I'll start applying them to the board. So I've got all my newspapers cut up, ready to go. I've got my PVA watered down, so ready to start. So all you need is a pair of tweezers and a bit of kitchen roll, and we'll take a few bits of paper, dip them in the glue. The idea behind these ones is just to have a bit of colour variation. I do two different types. I do clean ones, and then I'll add some Agrax into the PVA to do dirty, grimy. Get rid of the excess, scrunch it up. Back in a glue and apply it to the board. Don't worry about the PVA being so light because it will dry clear. Unless you put some Agrax in it, and it will dull it down, which is what we're after in the second stage. So just apply this one, and then I'll do a few more off camera, but we'll come back when I need to add the Agrax. So I'm about to add some Agrax to the mix then. There we go. Let's mix that in quickly. And same again. Just add in the paper, but this time it should give it a nice dirty effect. When it dries, that is. So I'll give it another dip in the glue and add it to that bit there. Another tip to use instead of printing stuff online is to use maybe like a magazine or something that's got a bit of colour in it with pictures, because you can cut them up just to get a bit of variation. Or old crisp packets, just cut them up really small squares. So I'll carry on with the rest of the board and I'll come back to the next stage. Next up is the pigments. I'm using black, factory dirt ground, and city dark dust. It's mainly these two I think we'll be using, so I've transferred them to my pigment pot there. The ground dirt is that one, that's the factory one, and that's the black. So grab a makeup brush or a big soft brush off your missus, and this is the one I'm using, a shade brush from Citadel, and I'll start applying the pigments to the roads now. So I'll start off with this one, and basically we're just trying to simulate exhaust fumes on the road. I'll spread out a wee bit. I tend to go quite heavy with this stuff. And if you want to mix it up a bit, you can mix these like paints by adding a little bit of black into the mix. I'll go across in there. It's just to change the tone. Add a bit of black in there just to and basically just keep going until you're happy. Just keep mixing it up, changing bits here and there. And let's get rid of the excess then. And I'll carry on doing the rest of the board. And we're ready for the next stage. Coming into the final stages now, so grab your agrax and get ready to go. Okay, so I've got my agrax earth shade, and I'm applying this straight out of the pot onto the sawdust that we applied earlier. If you want to mix things up, add some Nuln oil into there as well. Just get darker patches. I'm avoiding the newspapers because it's not quite dry yet. notice I've added some newspapers to the pavement as well. Just to mix things up a wee bit. So see what it dries like. If it needs another coat, go in with another coat. It's totally up to the look that you want to create. I think I may leave mine at that, but we'll see how it goes. You never quite know how it's going to dry, so I'll leave it at that for now. The next bit is I like to put this stuff on as well. So fresh engine oil. It's a product from Ammo by MIG. And it's actually enamel. So I need to swap brushes and I'll apply it quite thinly to start with for vehicles that have been sat at the stop sign. I'll just spread it out a wee bit. There's little drops here and there. I'll put a bigger, thicker blob in the middle. Let's do the odd drop. And another bit there as well. And I'll try and zoom in so you can see what it looks like, because I think the glare off the light isn't showing it very well. There we are, you can see that a bit better now. So what I'm trying to do is to add a bit more there, just to get some more intensity on it. See, there's been an oil spill or something. Okay, I'll leave it at that.